After 2 years of silence, Mom finally texted, "We all forgive you. Come home." I flew in, brought $1,400 gifts, paid their $6,200 bills. There were hugs, tears, even champagne. Then I found her laptop open. Confirm signature. Sell before he notices. I said quietly, "Understood." Next morning, I revoked access, secured the house, and disappeared. 53 missed calls. Dad froze. Sister was in shock. Even the dog barked all morning. After 2 years of silence, Mom finally texted, "We all forgive you. Come home. Don't embarrass yourself this time, okay? Keep your mouth shut, and let us do the talking." My dad snapped the moment I stepped into the arrivals terminal. "No, welcome back. No, we missed you." Just that. The same tone he always used, low, annoyed, like I was some burden that got shipped in by mistake. Beside him, my mom clutched her purse and forced a tight smile. "We just want peace this time, sweetheart. Let's not dig up old graves." Old graves. That's what they called it now. 2 years of silence. No birthdays. No holidays. No forwarded jokes or guilt-tripped group messages. Just a single text from her last week, out of nowhere. "We all forgive you. Come home." No apology. No explanation. Just absolution they thought they had the authority to grant. And still, I went. I bought the plane ticket, booked the hotel, even showed up with gifts, $1,400 in clothes, gadgets, and perfumes I knew they'd pretend to be surprised by. And I paid off the $6,200 in overdue property tax they'd conveniently forgotten to mention until the week before. The house was decorated like a scene out of a redemption movie. Balloons, candles, champagne on ice. Even the good dishes were out. My sister hugged me too tight, whispered something about fresh starts, and my dad actually clinked glasses with me. For 1 hour, it looked like peace. Like maybe they meant it. Until I walked past the kitchen counter on my way to the bathroom and saw my mother's laptop still open. Her email was right there. She never learned to lock her screen. The subject line read, "Confirm signature. Sell before he notices." The file was open. It was a scanned form with my name on it. Not forged. Scanned. Reused. I stared for exactly 3 seconds. Then closed the laptop gently, walked to the dining room, picked up my champagne glass, and said quietly, "Understood." No shouting. No scene. Just that. The next morning, I revoked all access to the shared accounts. Called the bank. Froze the property. Changed the locks. Then I disappeared. By noon, my phone had 53 missed calls. Dad froze up so bad they thought he had a stroke. My sister was in full panic. Even the dog barked all morning, as if it could smell the rot in the house now that I was gone. And I was nowhere to be found. They always say you can't choose your family. But I wish someone had told me you can fire them. Because that's what this became. A job I didn't apply for, couldn't quit, and only got paid in guilt. Let me explain something first. For years, I funded their lives. Quietly. Consistently. Blindly. Every month, I sent them money. $600 for the mortgage. $200 for utilities. $150 for groceries. Plus the random extras, sister's car repair, dad's emergency dental, mom's charity fundraiser that I later found out was a brunch for her book club. And I never complained. Not once. I told myself it was love. That family means showing up, even when they don't say thank you. Turns out, what it really meant was, you're useful until you stop being silent. Because the moment I pulled the plug, everything unraveled. That morning after I revoked the access, I turned off my phone, switched cards, locked my accounts. Within 6 hours, I had emails from 3 banks confirming attempted transactions, all of them in my name, from my dad's location. One was for a down payment on a cabin, the same family trip they were planning for winter. Another was for a wire transfer to a private account labeled A. Henderson. I didn't recognize the name at first, until I remembered it was my sister's ex-boyfriend. The same one she claimed had been abusive. The same one who blocked her on every platform last year. What was his name doing on my financial trail? By noon, I had logged in remotely to my mother's email. She never changed her password. It was still my birthday, 0704 Jack. There it was. He's in town. Pretend everything is okay. Once he signs the trust release, we're free. The document was attached. The trust release was the family trust account my grandfather had set up before he died. I didn't even know I was listed on it, but they did. I was the only one required to co-sign if it was sold early. They weren't asking me back to reconnect. They needed my name, my blood, my signature. That dinner, the champagne, the "we forgive you." It was all a setup. That night, I went back into the house. Quietly. Nobody was home. They were out, probably trying to figure out why their online banking wasn't working. I walked into the study, the one Dad always kept locked. He once said it was for tax stuff. Right. Guess what I found? A drawer full of USB drives. Dozens. All labeled with dates. I took 5. Plugged them in that night at a hotel near the airport. Do you want to know what I saw? Recordings. Not of family moments. Not birthdays or vacations. Recordings of me. Fixing their internet. Replacing Mom's laptop battery. Updating the router. Dad had filmed me, not for memory, but proof. Evidence that I was involved. Like he was building a case. One file was even titled "Jack Authorizes Repair." Another folder, calls_Jack. Dozens of audio files. Spliced, cut, manipulated. One was my voice saying, "Yeah, use my info." It sounded weird, flat. I knew why. It was fake. They were creating a fake timeline. A digital paper trail to prove I consented to whatever they planned to do next. And then I found it, a screenshot of a shared Google Drive, with a folder called Exit Strategy, January. Inside, a scanned version of my signature. Photos of my passport. A PDF labeled Power of Attorney, template. And one note from my sister to my mom. "He's so easy. Just cry. He always folds." That's when I knew. This wasn't family. It wasn't love. It was manipulation in disguise. But what broke me wasn't even the files. It was what I saw when I checked her laptop one last time. A tab left open on Messenger. My name in their family group chat. But I wasn't in the group anymore. They had removed me. I scrolled. Post after post. Mocking. Planning. Joking. Dad, he still thinks he's the martyr. LOL. Wait till he finds out he already signed it. Sister, should I tell him the condo is an MY name now? Mom, let's just keep him calm till January. If he bolts, we lose everything. Everything they said about me was like reading an obituary they wrote while I was still breathing. So I made a decision. I wasn't going to argue. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to erase myself from their lives before they could sell the last piece of me. And I was going to leave them exactly what they deserved. Silence. But first, I left a message. One final reply in the group chat. They didn't know I still had access from an old iPad. I typed 2 words. Nice try. Then I logged out. They expected submission. I brought proof. The invitation came wrapped in fake grace. Just dinner. Just us. No drama. Let's clear the air. I said yes. But before I showed up, I called 2 people. First, my lawyer, Marissa. Not flashy. Just sharp enough to slice concrete. She didn't come in person. She didn't have to. She gave me exactly what I needed. A printed cease and desist with all the legal landmines spelled out in bulletproof font. Second is Zach. Yeah, my sister's ex. The quiet one. The one they thought they could bleed dry and ghost. Turned out Zach kept receipts too. I walked into the house 15 minutes early. They were already seated, like royalty awaiting tribute. Mom wore pearls. Dad had his watch out, like he wanted me to know he still had time. My sister? A soft sweater, light makeup, the whole, we're healing look. The table was set like a Christmas card. Too clean. Too coordinated. It reeked of planning. Champagne, my mom offered, already pouring. I sat down. Didn't touch the glass. They started slow. Talking about the past. About misunderstandings. How things were said in stress. My dad even called it just a rough patch. That's when I pulled out the manila folder. Dropped it in the center of the table. 3 sets of eyes. 3 sets of frozen smiles. This, I said, is everything you signed using my name. Every file you altered. Every lie you sent by email, pretending it was me. I opened the folder. The first page was a printed email. Confirm signature. Sell before he notices. Dated. Timestamped. From Mom's account. She blinked. Said nothing. The next, a transcript of an audio file. My voice, spliced and reassembled. Yeah, use my info. Underneath it. Artificially manipulated audio. Identified by forensic specialist. Not legally admissible. Potential grounds for civil fraud. My dad reached for the page. I slapped his hand away. Then I pulled out the flash drive. Want to hear the full version? I asked. Nobody answered. So I stood up, walked to the living room, plugged it into the TV, and pressed play. At first, silence. Then, my mom's voice, recorded without her knowing. One of those little mics Zach had set up back when he still lived there. Just keep him sweet. He's signing soon. Then, my sister, giggling. He thinks we missed him. He doesn't even know the condo's already under my name. Then, my dad. We get this done, and that boy can go back to being broke and bitter. I turned the TV off. They sat still, like church statues. Then came the knock. Zach walked in with a backpack and a USB cable. Didn't say hello. Just nodded at me, plugged into the TV, and said, "Let me show you what else you missed." He opened the screen share. Bank statements. Routing numbers. A recorded call with my dad discussing how to shift funds without flags. He paused the playback halfway through. "Want to keep going?" he asked them. No one spoke. Then Zach dropped the bomb. "I sent this to the IRS yesterday, and to your lender, and to Jack's lawyer, in case anything happens to him." My sister started sobbing. Mom got up and ran to the kitchen. Dad stood, fists clenched. I sat back down, pulled out the last page from my folder. Termination of co-trustee agreement. Signed. Sealed. Notarized. I dropped it on the table. "You no longer have my name. You no longer have my consent. And starting tomorrow, you no longer have this house." That got my mom back from the kitchen. "You wouldn't," she gasped. I didn't answer. I opened my phone, called the attorney, and said 3 words. "It's time. Proceed." They all watched me in silence. Then I stood, looked around the room I once considered my home, and gave them the last thing I'd ever give them. My back. They thought I'd come back. Even after everything, after the signatures, the files, the fake voices, they still thought I'd return like I always did. Quiet. Broke. Grateful. But this time, I didn't say goodbye. I didn't slam a door. Didn't yell. I just left the folder on the table and walked out into the night, past the garden lights they bought with my money, past the car in the driveway registered in my name. I drove to the edge of the city and parked in front of a UPS store. Inside my backpack were 3 folders: legal forms, identity updates, financial transfers. 30 minutes later, my name was removed from every shared account. Mail rerouted. Documents refiled. My name was still mine, but now it belonged to no one else. They built an empire on the idea that I'd never leave. So I left. I moved to Asheville. I didn't tell anyone, not my coworkers, not the few friends I had left, not even my landlord. I signed a short-term lease for a small cabin off a private road. Trees on every side. No neighbors. No questions. The first night, I slept for 13 hours. No noise. No slam doors. No group chats buzzing like insects in my pocket. Just quiet. The next morning, I bought myself something stupid, a coffee machine. The fancy kind. Chrome finish. 1-button brew. I set it up on the empty counter and made espresso with beans I couldn't pronounce. It was bitter. And it was perfect. No champagne. No betrayal. Just coffee and peace. Day 3. The first messages started to crawl in. Blocked numbers. Unknown senders. "Hey, it's Mom. Can we talk? Dad's been asking about you. Please don't punish all of us for one mistake." I didn't respond. On day 5, I got a message from a cousin I hadn't spoken to in years. It was short. "What did you do? Aunt Deb says your mom hasn't left the house." Then came the longer ones. From Emma. I didn't know what they were doing. I was just following what Dad told me. I didn't think it would go that far. "I'm sorry. I swear I am. Please. Just say something." I read them all, then deleted each one. They weren't sorry. They were just scared they lost their supply. Week 2. The phone stopped buzzing. That's when the real panic began. Dad tried calling my old manager. I'd already resigned. Mom reached out to my ex. She blocked her. Emma DM'd a friend I hadn't spoken to in 6 years. He texted me with one sentence. "They're hunting you like you're a missing paycheck." At the end of that week, I went to a local notary and legally changed the contact number and recovery email on every document tied to the family trust. No more loopholes. No more digital ghosts. I even changed the name on my Venmo. He's not where you left him. That was what my old college roommate wrote to my mother when she begged him for my address. He showed me the screenshot. I sent him a coffee gift card. They weren't looking for reconciliation. They were looking for control. By week 4, I'd finished setting up my studio. I'd been working on it quietly, a tiny place off the edge of town. 1 room, 2 workbenches, 3 tools I actually owned. It wasn't much, but it was mine. I fixed furniture, repaired speakers, built custom desks out of reclaimed wood. No one knew my name. No one cared who my father was. Cash payments. No invoices. No family discounts. I didn't block them out of cruelty. I blocked them to survive. And I meant it. Then, on a Tuesday morning that smelled like sawdust and fresh air, I printed a small white sticker and slapped it on the front door of the workshop. Not for advertising. For me. No family discounts. No exceptions. I stood there for a moment, read it twice, and laughed for the first time in months. The final gesture was small. I walked into the local jeweler's shop and bought a watch. Leather strap. Simple face. No logo. It cost more than I wanted to spend, but less than the guilt I used to carry. When I put it on, I didn't think about birthdays they forgot, or vacations they took without me, or the champagne toast they raised as they sold me off on paper. I just looked at the time. For the first time, the gift was mine, and nobody else drank the champagne. Peace didn't arrive like fireworks. It came like fog, slow, soundless, absolute. The kind of quiet that wraps around you and says, "You're safe now." At first, it felt wrong. After a lifetime of noise, manipulation disguised as tradition, guilt disguised as love, silence feels suspicious. I kept waiting for the door to swing open, for my phone to buzz, for someone to say, "Enough. Time to come home and behave." But no one came. Not because they let go, but because they were regrouping. I could feel it. And yet, nothing reached me. Because I'd finally built something stronger than their reach, distance. The cabin in Asheville became more than a hiding spot. It became a declaration. Each nail I drove into the wall, each drawer I built with my hands, it said, "I exist on my terms now." I'd wake up before sunrise and make coffee in silence. No footsteps, no one crying in another room, no voices asking for things wrapped in shame. Just heat, breath, and stillness. I used to equate quiet with isolation. Now it felt like truth. They used to own my time. Now, even my mornings are mine. They didn't stop trying, of course. People like them don't give up. They just adapt their methods. At first, the messages came layered in sweetness. "We miss you. Your room is still the same. It's not too late to come back." Then came the pressure. "Mom hasn't stopped crying. You're punishing all of us for one misunderstanding. You think this is healthy?" And finally, the threats disguised as sorrow. "If something happens to your father, will you even care? Family is blood, no matter what you believe. You've changed." Yes, I had. That was the point. I didn't answer a single message. I watched them twist themselves into shapes they thought resembled remorse. But it was never about healing. It was about reclaiming access. Because the truth is, they didn't mourn me. They mourned control. I didn't block them out of cruelty. I blocked them to survive. I started small in town. A few jobs fixing up secondhand furniture. Then word spread. People liked my work. My consistency. My silence. They didn't ask about my past, only about the wood stain I preferred, or whether I could fit a custom piece into a deadline. And I like that. I didn't need to be someone's son, someone's disappointment, someone's wallet. I was just the guy who made broken things work again. And finally, that included myself. My shop got its first sign 2 months in. Simple black letters on clean wood. No family discounts. No exceptions. I didn't post about it. I didn't explain it. But every time I passed that sign, I felt a little straighter. Like my spine was growing back. Some clients noticed and smiled. Others asked if it was a joke. "It's not," I'd say. And that was enough. Around that time, I made a trip to the bank. The clerk smiled and asked if I wanted to update my info. I said yes. She pulled up my profile and asked, "Would you like to change your security phrase?" I nodded. New phrase. I didn't hesitate. "Do not answer." Not for them. She smiled like she thought it was just a sentence. It wasn't. It was my survival story, 5 words long. On my birthday, I took the day off. I drove out to the edge of the mountains and sat with a thermos of coffee and a slice of pie from a diner no one in my old life had ever heard of. The view wasn't dramatic, no epic cliffs or glowing sunsets, just trees, cold air, and peace. That was enough. I didn't get any calls. No birthday wishes. No fake apologies. Just silence. And for once, it didn't ache. It healed. This year, the best gift was no obligation. Sometimes people ask why I don't speak to my family. I don't tell the whole story. I just say, "We grew in different directions." And if they ask more, I smile and say, "I stopped funding the illusion." That usually ends the conversation. But sometimes, someone nods like they understand. And I know they do. They used to own my loyalty, my schedule, my guilt, my silence. Now, they don't even have my number. And they never will again.